this is Dave Dally with Keizer TV. We're bringing you an update on the Keizer Park Survey. I have with me Matt Lawyer. He is on Keizer Planning Commission and also our Keizer Parks Board. Thank you for all your time, Matt, that you give to Keizer. We appreciate it very much. And for our audiences that now know and see that the survey link is gone from the city website, what's the next step for how that's going to be used for the Keizer Parks?
That's a good question. So first off, I want to say thank you to everybody that participated in the survey. They said a sample size for our population was about 400 responses, and I know that we got well over 400. I'm not sure the exact number at this time, but it was a very positive response. Big shout out to my colleague on the Parks Board, Tanya Hamilton, for getting it out there and spreading the word, especially with our youth folks through the schools, and Carol Dorfler with West Keizer Neighborhood Association, Patty Mills Tisher with Greater Gubser, and Colleen and Bob Bush. A lot of folks really helped make sure this gets out, and of course, you know, the great work you did with your video, getting this out at the beginning of the survey was also really, really helpful. I think that video reached almost 1,000 views, so that was really, really positive. So with that being said, the consultant's going to take that information back and they'll digest the information and start to sort of create the background for how they're going to look at some of the amendments with the Parks Master Plan. I know staff is working very, very closely with them and looking at the inventory that we have in our park system now, among a lot of other things. And so that information will be compiled, brought back to the Parks Board. We expect to hear from them probably in the February Parks Board meeting. So for those folks that are engaged in this and are curious about it, the meeting is in person. So if you want to check that out, great. If you want to follow on Keizer TV or Channel 23, then that's also a really good option as well. But just really kind of paying attention to the process and seeing what those results yielded, and then how the consultant's going to translate that over to data as it relates to our master plan amendment.
And in talking about parks, I always have to pipe up that when we analyze what we pay for parks in Keizer and what neighboring communities pay for parks, we are getting a tremendous amount for the amount that we allocate as a city to the parks. And we need to make sure that the staff knows and appreciates that they really do a lot, and it's appreciated. There's partnerships with neighbors around some of the parks that do little touch-ups. I know Roland Herrera with that park across from his house takes great care and does extra things as a citizen and neighbor to make that park beautiful for everybody. And it's great. We have people around all the parks that do things that take pride in Keizer, and it's a great thing that we have that.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, Councilor Herrera does a great job kind of keeping an eye on Country Glen Park. He's over there fairly often, been down there many times doing different projects, and he's usually doing something else in the park, trying to keep it looking nice. And, Daryl Richardson for years took care of Sunset, and I know Mark Callier pokes around at Gupser now and again, kind of keeps an eye on things. So there's a lot of folks that really are very invested in the park system, and I think it shows through our continued high level of volunteerism at the parks, with youth groups, with all kinds of different folks that really want to continue to participate in that. And I agree. We do a lot with little. We've got the most amazing park staff that really. It's not often that you get to hear from the public, hey, the staff is doing a really, really great job. But in Keizer, that's kind of one of those things that we hear a lot across the board. And with the park staff, it's very often. And, huge shout out to Robert and his team for all the really great work they do there. It's very encouraging when we hear time after time, board meeting after board meeting, just how appreciative the folks at Keizer are of our great public works staff and the park staff.
And another thing about the feedback of this survey that has a broader view is parks add to the value of life in Keizer. we have a big housing crunch going on right now. There's not enough housing. And with COVID, a house, and now this new, what they call the home economy, where you may be living there, working there, playing there, it's really raised the intensity of where you want to have your house in proximity to parks. And so in Mid-Willamette Valley, the park system in Keizer is something that's adding to the values. And I
Right.
don't always know people appreciate when you go to sell your house, you're going to see a significant increase to what you're going to be able to use to either move away. And that speaks to why this discussion of parks is important and relevant. And you may not even see one from your house, but it may be 10 blocks away, but that park is an asset to those in your neighborhood. And it's been great to see the care and attention that our parks are given. And I say in closing here to welcome everyone to follow the parks board meetings. They're on TV. The agendas are posted ahead of time, and get involved. Go walk your parks. The bigger discussion, the better, you know?
Yep. And actually interesting with the home economy thing, and I just wanted to point this out, gyms have been closed for a long time, but one of the really cool things that Jeff Davis and the Rotary folks have done over the last couple of years is put exercise equipment in most of our parks, or not most, but some of our parks. Those have been used a lot, right? I've driven by a few of the parks that have it, and folks are recognizing, hey, I can't get to my normal, brick and mortar gym. So they've been out there using those pieces of exercise equipment, which is just a tremendous opportunity for folks. And so, yes, parks are hugely important. Get out there, check them out. Go walk the trails at Keizer Rapids. Walk the loop at Keizer Rapids. Get on the map on the Keizer City website and go check out a park you've never been to.
Yeah.
There's some great diversity in the types of parks and the types of amenities at each of those parks, and not visiting them is really kind of doing yourself a disservice. We've got a lot of really cool opportunities here to do pretty much most things you'd want to do in our parks.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Matt, for the discussion today. We'll be back here at Keizer TV updating you over the summer on other specifics happening with our parks, but comment below a story you have about one of our Keizer parks and what it means to you, because they're a great asset and it's a great collaboration, and we're lucky to have them in our town. So in wrapping up here, thank you, Matt, for talking with us today, and I'm Dave Daly with Keizer TV. Thank you.